Hey yo, what is up, YouTubers? It's your boy Kos, and I'm back again, yet again. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and almost a Happy New Year to each and every one of y'all. I've been faithful. I've been uploading my newest animations and stuff like that. Check them out if you get the chance. That's what I've been occupying my time with. I've been spending my time creating websites and stuff like that. Your boy's been busy making moves. Been a little sick lately, but you know, I'll get over it soon enough. So anyway, let's talk about these Democrats. Let's talk about these crazy ass Democrats and the stupid that is going through their minds right now. They are so devastated by their loss in the presidential election. So devastated and so salty that they make up this fake Russian hacking story. I mean, the story's been circulating for a while now. I mean, the Democrats, they got that out early because they wanted to delegitimize Trump, in the first place. So, and now that they've lost, all of a sudden it's like even more prevalent, But this myth that the Russians somehow are responsible for hacking, they're alleged by some anonymous people in the CIA, anonymous people, the same CIA, the same organization, that led us to war over WMDs. And don't tell me it wasn't over WMDs. They told us it was WMDs. They told us that Saddam Hussein was some bad dude, and we should go to Iraq and kill his ass because, because he's about to blow up the world or something like that. Said innocent men to die. Well, mostly men and women, but mostly men. Because men stronger, faster. More spatially aware. Yeah, so anyway, they send young men to die for nothing, thinking that they're fighting evil, and really they're just messing everything up. I mean, sure, Saddam wasn't the greatest, but he kept the region stable, And now these Democrats, these fake news peddling, nonsense spewing, SJW loving Democrats, they want us to go to war with Russia. They want us to go to war with Russia. Why? Because, well, Vladimir Putin is highly conservative. He doesn't take any of the liberal bullshit that they try to prop up in his country, like they're trying to do in my mom's native land of Liberia and all of West Africa. Actually, it's like what is this? It's like they're SJWism, the feminism. It's like they're teaching all these small countries about and stuff like that, and like trying to spread their mental illness across the rest of the world and promoting feminism in these third world countries. Like that's gonna help anything. Like these people need resources, not like to not marches. These people need lives. They don't need stupid promises and platitudes and whatnot. And where was I going? So anyway, Putin doesn't take any crap, and that's admirable, I guess. you know, and the only thing is that we really don't want to go to war with Russia, and Russia really didn't want us to go to war with them because, you know, it would be the end of the world. And that's exactly what Hillary Clinton wanted. I mean, face it, guys. I mean, you guys are mad about Russia. I mean, I'm talking about Democrats and liberals and all these other hippies. Mad about Russia supposedly being involved with no actual evidence. I mean, like that guy that was on that lying weasel that was on the Tucker Carlson show. Oh my God, just listen to that guy.
So what's next? Tonight we're asking what's next for the effort to delegitimize the presidential election. Some in Congress are demanding that President Obama brief them on Russian interference with the election. They say that, quote, the Russians, quote, hacked our democracy, and they're mad about it. Joining us now is one of the members who signed that letter, House Intelligence Committee ranking member Adam Schiff of Burbank, California. Congressman, thanks a lot for joining us.
Good to be with you.
So one of the complaints in this letter, which is pretty interesting, is that Russia, and I'm quoting now, hacked our political institutions by, among other things, giving us access to John Podesta's emails in WikiLeaks. Now, I'm against hacking people's personal emails, for sure. I think it's a problem. But no one contests that those emails were real and the information in them was true, and voters got to see that, and it helped them assess how they wanted to vote. Why is that bad? Are you really arguing against more information for voters?
And are you really arguing in favor of a foreign adversarial party hacking into the American...
Of course not. No, I'm explicitly not. I'm just saying that once information comes into the public view, then why is that bad?
Then if we're in agreement that we shouldn't tolerate foreign countries interfering in our election, hacking and dumping of information, then we shouldn't condone it in any way. Now, are you saying that that we're going to look the other way and we're going to ignore Russian interference because they brought to light facts that were helpful to one candidate or hurtful to the other or of public interest? The voters had a chance to evaluate that. They made their decision. But if we're going to protect ourselves from further Russian meddling in the future, we're going to have to call them out on it. We're going to have to inform the American people about it. And Donald Trump may have been the beneficiary, and I think he certainly was, of the Russian meddling this time. But when President-elect Trump has to cross Putin, as invariably he will, because Putin is not our friend. The President-elect may think Putin is our friend, but he's not. Then he may be the subject of the same interference. I get it.
Nobody's for hacking. Let me just make one clear point. You don't know that Vladimir Putin was behind those hacks.
Well, we do know this, and I can say this.
But you don't know that, so let's not pretend that you do.
Well, let's not ignore what the Secretary of Homeland Security and the Director of National Intelligence said publicly, which is that these hacks were of such seriousness they could not have taken place without the approval at the highest levels of the Kremlin.
That's speculation, and we've seen a lot. Well, it is speculation. That's
it is not speculation. You can only say speculation.
It's a statement of fact?
It is a statement of the intelligence community's best assessment,
okay.
and you can quarrel with that because there's a political reason to do it. But this is what the intelligence professionals are saying.
Well, they've told us a lot. You know, I've lived here a long time. I remember vividly the massive stockpiles of WMD in Iraq, which the intelligence community assured us were there, and they weren't. So, pardon me for my skepticism. I think it's a patriotic position. But let me just say this: we know.
Tucker, let me just say this: you don't have to take my word for it. You don't have to take
I've been following, but here's what I don't get: there's been a lot of hacking.
The Republican members of the Intelligence Committee.
But here we've had hacking
of
the Pentagon, the White House, the State Department. The CIA director's personal email was hacked. We think in some cases by Russia. I don't remember you holding a press conference and saying, hey, Obama administration, your cybersecurity is pathetic. In this letter to the president, you don't mention the fact that American cybersecurity is inadequate, that the administration is partly responsible for allowing these hacks to happen. Why don't you mention that?
You haven't been watching the opening hearings. I don't think you have, because if you had, you would see me pressing the administration on the failures to protect our data, like the OPM hack, taking issue with the level of our cyber protection, which is wholly inadequate. You wouldn't see the statements I made in connection with the intelligence authorization bills.
Then why not mention it in this letter?
Because this letter was about Russian meddling, and if you don't think that's significant, that a power that is an adversary of ours, that's bombing civilians in Syria right now, that's invading its neighbors, is also interfering in our political processes as well as our allies.
But
if you don't think that's serious, it's hard for me to imagine you are in the same party as Ronald Reagan.
I'm confused by what you're alleging. So you're saying that you believe the Russian government hacked John Podesta's emails and that voters knew too much, okay? Then you're saying what? That they hacked voting machines?
I'm not saying the voters knew too much.
Well, what are you saying? What are you saying?
If the Russians hack into your emails and disclose
Which I'm
things
against, by the way.
And I'm against too. But if they did that and disclosed things of public interest, I wouldn't seek to justify it.
But I'm not justifying it.
I would still want to condemn the Russians and
I'm
protect us.
I'm going to keep you here until you answer
hacks.
this question, which is, how specifically did the Russians make this election outcome different from what it would have been otherwise? How specifically did they, quote, hack our democracy?
We will never know, whether this was determinative any more than Director Comey's involvement in the election. The means they used were hacking into democratic institutions and the leaking of documents designed in the primary process to sow division between the Clinton and Sanders camps, something that we saw actually took place as a result of that. And then in the general election to attempt to discredit Secretary of State Clinton in a way that would harm her and would help Donald Trump.
How did they do that?
Well, it was pretty obvious, wasn't it? They hacked, they released documents that were
real.
Oh, yes, they were real, and they were ones that were damaging to Secretary Clinton. Can you point to documents that they disclosed that were damaging to
But are
the
you
Republican
arguing?
Party?
Let's just get to the bottom line. You're upset because you think this affected the election. I get why you're upset. But are you arguing that voters, and other reasons too, but are you arguing that voters should not have seen that information?
This is an important point, though. It's not just the fact that it damaged the candidate I was supporting. All Americans, Democrats and Republicans, and particularly, of the party of Reagan, ought to be concerned when we have Russia interfering in our political affairs.
But are you arguing that voters should not have had the right to see that information? If you could take it back, would you say voters, you're not allowed to see that information?
Well, I would say that we ought to stop Russia from doing this. Now, whether the press should publish the information or not...
Do you think they should?
That is a different question. I think that there are some cases where the public interest is so great they should publish. But I also think, and this was an issue I took with the press during the campaign, that when they do publish information that the Russians have hacked and the Russians want us to see, they ought to inform the public of the provenance of those emails.
But they don't know it, and neither do you.
Oh,
you don't know that. You don't know that the government... I think it's really irresponsible for you to say you know that the Putin government did this.
You know what is irresponsible, Tucker, for you to make that claim without looking at the evidence, and more importantly...
You can't say that you know the Putin government did that.
More importantly, for the president-elect today to say that he doesn't know whether the Russians...
Look, you're on the Intel Committee. Let me just ask you one final question. Can you look right into the camera and say, I know for a fact the government of Vladimir Putin was behind the hacks of John Podesta's email?
Absolutely. The government of Vladimir Putin was behind the hacks of our institution and the dumping of information.
Of John Podesta's email.
Not only in the United States, but also in Europe.
Okay, you're not. You know what? You're dodging.
And Tucker,
look and say, I know they did. John Podesta's emails. They hacked those.
And I think that Ronald Reagan will be rolling over his grave at your carrying water for the Kremlin.
I'm not carrying water for the. You're a sitting member of Congress on the Intel Committee, and you can't say they hacked.
You're gonna have to move your show to RT Russian television because
you know what?
This
That's
is perfect.
Just so beneath your office because it's so dumb and you're being duplicitous. I'm asking you, did they hack Podesta's emails? And you can't say it.
Like that, Tucker.
You just said I was carrying. You said I was carrying water for Putin. That's pretty hilarious.
When you essentially are an apologist for the Kremlin, that's what you're doing.
I'm an apologist. One last time, Congressman. Look into the camera and say they hacked John Podesta's emails. We know for a fact that Putin's government did that. You can't, and you know you can't, and you're hiding
Tucker,
behind weasel words.
I just said that the
say they hacked John Podesta's emails.
Russians. I'm not going to be specific as.
Oh, because you don't know it. That's why. All right, done. One. You don't know it, and you're alleging it without any evidence, and it's wrong.
You're ignoring the evidence because you don't care. The fact that it helped the Republican candidate is all you need to know.
That's totally false. I just think if you're going to make a serious allegation about an actual country with an actual government, you ought to know what you're talking about, and you don't.
I think that you ought to accept.
I got to go. I'm taking cash from Putin now. I'm on RT.
Republicans on the Intelligence Committee have seen for a fact.
If you could say it, you would, and you can't, and you know that.
If you're willing to be in denial about this because it suits a Republican-elect president.
Okay, whatever. You can blather on all you want, man, but I gave you a chance to state it clearly, and you wouldn't, which tells you everything you know. All right.
Or a president-elect. Okay. Not very much, apparently.
I appreciate that, Congressman. And now I need to take a call from Vladimir Putin, so I'm going to put you on hold for 1 second, do this tease.
I mean, I've seen many liars and many frauds lie to my face, thinking that they're slick. But this guy, of course I see through their bullshit, but this guy takes the cake. I mean, just takes the cake. I mean, I've never seen such a deceitful weasel. Oh my God. Just he lies right to your face. Like Tucker Carlson presses him on questions, he's dodging that. He's dodging just like Super Saiyan Goku, man. It's like, oh man, it's like in Team 4-Star where Piccolo's like dodge and Gohan of course doesn't dodge, but this guy, like, he really was trying to be slick and like dodge all these questions, but it was like too late. The good thing about Tuck is that he makes it so that, like, even if you dodge a few, like, you know, the audience still knows that you're full of it, that you're full of crap, yeah. And it was just, it's an interesting time we live in. You know, the Cubs are World Series champions. Trump is president officially now, with the Electoral College voting him in. And Fox News is actually ahead of the journalistic curve. It's more trustworthy than Huffington Post, than any other mainstream news source now. I mean, it's just like, it's more trustworthy than any of these clowns. And the other networks right now, I mean, they've come through in this election. They've said, hey, you know what, we're gonna look at this thing objectively and try to get the truth of the matter, instead of just feeding into this nonsense narrative, you know, without even looking at it critically. Because like CNN just laps it up, like, you know, oh yes, this is definite proof that Trump is like in Russia's hands, you know, without even doing a background search or like a check on this story to see where these things are coming from. Who are these anonymous guys in the CIA that totally don't want to be found out, because if they were, their story would be proven to be total bullshit. I mean, it amazes me. And I mean, it's like the Democrats are so desperate. It's like they haven't lost in so long that it's just like, you know, it's like a spoiled child that gets everything, and once they get that thing, you know, once they don't get that thing, you know, then they emotionally break down, and now we're witnessing the meltdown, and it's glorious for us, but I'm kind of worried that it'll spill over into other things. But either way, I mean, Trump is the president. And you know what? Another thing that pisses me off, these spineless cowards. Democrats, really, I mean, like, people that voted Democrat this year, I see them all really trying to petition to get the Electoral College removed or like abolished. These people are just so salty that they lost. They're so take an L like a man, please. Because you know, if the shoe was on the other foot, you would be telling us the same thing. Oh, you Trump voters should just walk out with grace and, like, you know, take your loss, you know, and whatnot. And you would be oh God, the Democrats would be taunting us like no tomorrow. And you know, people are like, oh, chill, Kosi, chill with this stuff. Like, you know, don't hurt them. Don't hurt their feelings. And I'm like, nah, screw it, man. You know, it's just, they deserve this rude awakening of a Trump America. You know, they deserve it after all the bullshit they pulled this year and the years before that and the years before that. Like, they straight up deserve it. You know, they live in this delusion. They live in this box where they always win, and they're on, you know, the right side of history, and, like, you know, everything they do is just so perfect, and, you know, just so politically correct, and, you know, they just try not to step on each other's toes so much, or else they might offend someone. And, like, you know, if you're not, like, perfectly in line with their views, then, you know, you're a blankophobe, or a, you know, blankist, or a, you know, just part of some hierarchy. It's just nonsense, man. I'm so sick of this culture that we've become, ingrained in. Clint Eastwood was right. This is the generation of pussies. This is the generation of weaklings. And I'm glad I was born just a little bit before that. I'm like the generation that I was like before that. I was just before that, and I got to see all these pansies grow up. Unfortunate. That's what they want. They want us to live in a fatherless society, in a society where the state is the father. That's why our marriage laws are all messed up. They all favor the women. They all screw over the men, and I'm sort of starting to see that now. Young men, now you got to be careful who you get with, because some hoe could claim, oh yeah, he raped me, and he's a big black guy, so you should just believe little innocent old me, So yeah, I mean, they hoes do stuff like that. I mean, they've been doing that since forever. But now it's just gotten out of hand. I mean, we have, we have all these allegations that people take at face value, and no one ever dares to look into it for fear of blaming the victim. And even though people like Hillary Clinton, they blame rape victims, they blamed rape victims before, but I'm just a commentary on this entire SJW mess. I'm bouncing all over the place with it, but in general, it's just liberal Democrats being a bunch of pussies and whiners, just a bunch of little pansies, just not trying to. And I'm being nice with the words that I'm using. I'm being generally kind with the terminology that I'm using, because what I really want to say, y'all know. Oh man, this sickness is kicking my butt. But anyway, they're so salty that they made up this controversy. They're so salty that they tried to threaten Ivanka or Melania Trump. They're so salty that they whine in the streets, flip over and break cars, people's property, in order to protest a president that was rightfully elected. Now, some of you crybabies out there might say, well, Trump won the popular vote. Well, the popular vote doesn't mean a dang thing. It doesn't mean anything. I'm sorry, Hillary won the popular vote, but the popular vote doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean a thing. Some states are more populous than others. It shouldn't count. One state shouldn't, swing a whole election. The Electoral College is there for a reason, and it's a system that works. It makes sure that each state is represented proportionally. It's like a game. Think about it like this. It's like the more individual states you win, the more points you get. It's a very simple concept. It's just like, because they lost, they can't seem to comprehend it. If they had won, they would have been praising the Electoral College like, oh yes, this is our righteous victory, and they would have been all high and mighty liberals like they always are, like I've always had to deal with since high school. They would have been all up in your face, like just, oh man, I can imagine it now, and thank God that didn't happen. But do you really want if you think that you're underrepresented, just take away the electoral college. People will only campaign in 4 places, I guarantee you: Texas, New York, California and probably Florida or Pennsylvania. I mean, man, my neck. Yeah, so anyway, the Electoral College, it stays. You know, y'all Democrats can be salty if you want to be. I really don't care. You know, no one else cares. All the grown-ups, all the people who can accept reality, unlike you liberal SJW clowns, maybe this is a wake-up call. You know, maybe this is a wake-up call for all you SJWs. Have you ever thought about that? Maybe you should introspect a little bit. You know, maybe, and think, maybe I'm not as righteous as I pretend to be. You know, maybe you should just introspect just a little bit. You know, instead of being sore losers, instead of crying, instead of, damaging and people's property. You know, just because your candidate lost? Really? We gotta move on. We gotta move on. We're all Americans here. I mean, most of us anyway. We're all Americans here, except for the Russian spies. Russian spies. Russia is too. We crippled. We economically just about crippled Russia. You know, with all these sanctions and stuff that we be throwing upon them, like Russia was in no position to do anything. Or in position to do very little, But yeah, we're all Americans here, and it's time for us to stop. Especially the Democrats, because it's time for them to stop and just be like, yo, and just admit that you screwed up. Just admit it. Just admit that you screwed up. No harm in that. No harm in it. Just admit that you're a corrupt ass party. Just admit it. Because all this Russian spy nonsense, all this James Bond movie type stuff, the Russians hacking elections, Russians hacked your votes. Okay, in Michigan, where the vote is all paper ballot, it's just all so much nonsense. It's just none of these voting machines have access to the internet. It's just no. There's no way that happened. There's no way. I wouldn't blame the Russians for trying. Hillary Clinton did admit that any sort of infiltration by Russia is an act of war, and that she's gonna meet them with a deserved response, and they're gonna go to war and destroy each other. That's just the enemy playing us against each other, man. Really. I'm happy right now. I'm happy that we won't see another war that we're entrenched in. That we can't get out of, and another endless stalemate. Stuff shouldn't even be a stalemate in the Middle East right now. We should have been wiped those people out. And I know I sound like a typical street hood when I use that language, but just to get across my point, we should have destroyed those terrorist cells a long time ago. There's no reason for ISIS to even be around right now, especially with us stomping all up and down the Middle East. We should have been taking them. We should have destroyed them a long time ago. I hate using bad language, but seriously. Yeah, the sickness is kicking my butt. But anyway, wow. Can you believe it? Christmas is around the corner. And people are saying Christmas. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Thank you. And it's just so nice because, no happy holidays. I mean, Happy Holidays is nice and stuff like that. You get it, but like, when it's Christmas time, it's Christmas time. I mean, come on, man. I mean, I just say Merry Christmas because, you know, I'm a Christian. Jews can say Happy Hanukkah to me. I mean, I don't care. I mean, even though I don't look Jewish, but like, hey, I like my Jewish people, you know. Jews are fun. But, you know, Muslims are like, you know, they don't say like, you know, I'm not sure if a Muslim assumes I'm a Muslim, you know, but if you, I mean, just because Christianity is just generally the dominant religion here, so people just say, hey, Merry Christmas, man. I mean, and of course, there's always going to be some SJW clown like, oh my God, check your privilege, you Christian Islamophobe, you know, anti-Semitic person of color. It's just check your privilege. Like, I'm not Christian. Like, I bet all this started with just someone saying that, and then you know people in these advertising campaigns are like, whoa, I guess we better lay off with the Merry Christmas and just keep it holiday neutral. Keep it holiday neutral. Let's say Happy Holidays. It's just some guy that works at Hallmark making all these cards and stuff like that. It's like, that's it. You know, we'll keep it holiday neutral because, or someone high up was probably saying that, like, you know, and it just fell through and like everyone just bought it, you know, because they didn't want to offend anyone. I mean, that's probably what happened too. I mean, like, you know, that's the one thing I give Trump credit for. You know, he doesn't care about all that politically correct nonsense. I mean, it's killing our country. It's killing our freedom of speech. You know, what you can and can't say to offend people or not to offend people. You know, I said it in my last Christian Perspective video. You know, my church became sort of like that, my old church, and they started a lot of that, and now it's like the hymns. You can't even. It's like you can't. They got a filter now. The pastor has to filter a hymn of your choice, a hymn of your freaking choice, just so you don't offend people. What kind of garbage is that? I mean, just like, wow. Like, I never thought my church would sink that low, and I have this burning flame inside me that I just want to just unleash verbally, you know, against these people, you know, and it's just like, if it wasn't for the people in my life, you know, people like my mom to keep me steady, and you know, just people like my family to keep my mind focused, I'll probably be a raving lunatic in the street, you know. But I'm already a lunatic, but I'll be out in the street a lot more, you know. And I thank God for that. You know, who knows how my life would have turned out? You know, I don't know. I try to live in the moment, even though it's hard. You know, it's easier for some people, but yeah, man. In the moment, Trump's the president. You know, every rational human being here accepts that. There's gonna be a tomorrow. We got a new year coming up. I got new projects coming up. I got a new website up. I got a new Patreon and all that. I'm moving up in the world, making videos and such. And soon, very soon, I will be making my own movie. And y'all are gonna check that out. I will upload the trailer as soon as I'm done with that. It'll be very exciting. And plus, I got my brown belt in Shotokan Karate. So, thank you very much for watching. I mean, what else can I say? I mean, the world is full of crazy people, man. I mean, like, Putin, he may not be the enemy that we think he is. I mean, or maybe he just is. You know, I don't know. I really don't know. I noticed that the Democrats love to portray Russia as our constant enemy. But think about this. Wouldn't it be great for once if we were on the same side? Like, wouldn't it be great? Think about that. I mean, instead of constantly living in fear of one another, wouldn't it be awesome to have Russia as an ally instead? Think about it. I mean, that hasn't happened legit since World War One. I mean, since we were like legit allies and not uneasy ones either. You know, like in World War Two. You know. Anyway, it's your boy Coach Jolido. I'm signing out. Check out my animations. Check out my Twitter. You know, donate to my Patreon or whatever. See if I can. I think I was having some problems, but I'll see if I can fix it up. But anyway, thank you guys for checking out my videos and putting up with my sickness. Merry Christmas. As you can see, Mr. and Mrs. Claus up in the background. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and whatever holiday you're celebrating. If you're Jewish, all my Jewish boys, shout out. And everyone else just celebrating the season, the Yuletide. God loves you. Shout out to my homie Jesus Christ. You know. Shout out to you, big homie. Happy birthday, man. You know, shout out to Jesus Christ. Happy birthday. Well, we celebrate his birthday now, but happy birthday and all that. Yeah. Peace out, guys. Peace out.